afternoon.
How are you doing? It's been a very long time.
It really has, hasn't it? How are you?
I'm actually a bit ill today, which is
Oh no.
why I'm not on
Oh,
my classic slick setup that I do have already for me at work. But so no, I'm
that's
doing it from a
okay.
laptop at home.
I don't know where mine is, to be honest. I still can't find it. One day we will have professional podcasting equipment for both of us. Uh,
Yes,
we're just not there yet. Um,
will be
but
completely unrecognizable.
I know. I mean, it'll make such a difference, obviously. Uh, but
Yeah,
welcome back. I should start off by saying we are excited to be talking to Damian Hall today. Um, so many questions.
hmm
I don't know if he's going to be able to answer any of them. Uh,
Yeah, that's the thing with
that's the
Barkley,
thing,
isn't it?
but we can ask and he can either field them away or not. Um, we are on our final podcast that's being supported by Core Sensors. Um, I published Nick's review last week. So on the Core 2, so go off and have a look at that. If you're remotely interested in heat training, I hear it's amazing for endurance and increasing your endurance. In fact, if you are interested, have a listen to my podcast with Dan Lawson, who jumps in his sauna after every run. But you could do it in a slightly more technical fashion and measure your progress by using the core. Um, we also have a new podcast sponsor for the next few podcasts, which is Swiss Canyon Trail Ultra.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I am really excited about these guys. I have the honor of being asked to go out and commentate for them. Um,
Yes.
it's a it's a really iconic old race in the Swiss Jura. Part of the Alpine region. They have 5 races, I think. So there's something for everyone. I think it starts at 16K and goes up to the 111. Um, um, the trail it used to be the Trail de Absinthe, and apparently it's available on course. So I'm not sure how that works. I thought it was quite strong stuff, but maybe
Mm.
there's a slightly pared down one. But yeah, I mean, it just looks awesome, and I'm really excited to be just going out for the weekend. And yeah, they want to reach a wider and more Europe, more English speaking audience. So I'm going to help them with that.
Awesome. I love that. And it's actually paired with Kaila's Fuga
It
as
is.
well.
So maybe you should come out. You should come out and run it.
I could have actually got a spot for it if I wanted one, but I've not
Yeah.
got the family dispensation to go flying off to races this year.
Oh, oh. But how is training going?
Really good, really good. Yeah, I'm buckling down
Yeah.
every session. I'm pushing myself as hard as I should.
I was going to say,
Um,
is that a good idea?
as hard
Yes,
as I
as you
should.
should be. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm seeing the results. So hopefully I've got my 10K PB in my sights this Sunday.
Oh, this
Um,
Sunday. Oh, that's why you're ill. It's
yeah,
taper madness.
yeah, exactly. So I'm allowed, I
Yeah, yeah.
suppose being ill today doesn't really
Yes.
matter.
It's because you stopped running. That's why.
Yeah,
And the whole
yeah,
body's gone,
probably.
phew.
Yeah. And it just lets in all the bugs.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Because you had a really good result at the Carsington Trail half, didn't you?
I did, yeah, yeah. I wasn't like aiming to get a PB or a decent position, but yeah, I was really happy with sixth and a 2.5 minute PB at
Yeah.
125. So, but I'm hoping to go under 120 come early May. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Keep the training going. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. I tell you what, it's also I did that race years ago, and it's a
Mm.
little bit more undulating than you realize. You
Yeah. Oh,
think it's
it's
going to be flat going around a lake, but it's not, is it?
no, it's not. It's not. I think it's to be fair, it's about 750 feet, something like that. 220
Yeah.
meters. So yeah, it's not a flat road half where I can wear super shoes and like
No.
absolutely blitz round in a nice pack full of people with a pacer, like with a 120 pacer, like leading the way. So yeah, with like trail shoes on and just
Yeah.
running around all by myself, like with a GoPro strapped to me. Um,
Yeah, that was funny. That was good. I enjoyed watching that. All the
yeah,
people you overtook.
yeah. So hopefully the difference should be there. Plus another 8 weeks of training or so.
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
What is the next one? Will that be a road or will that be trail again?
It will be road. The yeah the half will be road. Aintree half marathon. Uh,
Aintree.
so
Okay.
yeah, the race course. It's
Yeah.
another run through one. I've done it before. I really enjoyed it then. It actually holds my f former PB there as well. But this was years ago now, so I've not really aimed to get any of these for a long time. So they're kind of all like good little pick-me-ups now that I've just
Yeah,
been going
yeah.
for longer.
No, totally. Now, in case anyone doesn't know, you have been asked to be a Kailas ambassador. Um, tell tell those of us, the mere mortals, what that's like and what it means to you and what it means to them.
Um, I suppose it came about because I like to think that I got through a bit of a back door on this one, really. But I think I'd be doing myself a little bit of a disservice there, and I've been told off for saying that before.
Yes.
Um, it means a lot to me to have a brand sort of backing me and happy to support me. And I
Mm.
didn't even really know that that was an opportunity available to me until I brought it up with them, with Pip, who's in charge of sort of the whole of Kailas Europe.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd sort of half mentioned, oh, it'd be cool if we were officially linked at some point after helping them with a couple of events over here.
Yeah.
And she just said, oh, I thought you just wanted to stay brand neutral. And I said, No.
Absolutely
Actually,
not.
no,
I'll
sign
take
me
any
up.
brand.
Yeah. So I mean, from there it all happened really quickly.
Yeah.
And I got to sign a cool little contract and
Oh,
uh,
it's
be
official.
made part of their special little Fuga Mountain Club. So
Awesome.
it's really cool now. I'll get loads of cool stuff
I mean, is it just
accompanying
stuff
it.
or do they help you with any aspects of training or
So yeah, I'm in like a couple of WhatsApp groups with like the UK team and like the international team as well.
yeah.
Um, then yeah, it's stuff for races and any type of weather, and it's also any race that they've sponsored themselves. They're really keen to get you to as
Okay.
well. So
Yeah. As in
I haven't
bespoke.
delved deep into how much they sort of like fund the travel, but I'm pretty sure it's from what I've heard, it's they'll fund like your first night and your last night, bookending the race, and they'll get you there as well.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Okay.
and yeah, for the most part, they can get you free entry. So basically, if I want to do any cool international races, I have to convince Jen to let me go.
Oh my God, Jen, please let him come out to Swiss Canyon with me.
Yeah.
That would be so amazing. But yeah, okay. Oh, well, that's really fun, isn't it? And a really worthy partner for for both of you.
Mhm.
I'm sure you'll be giving them a lot too. And
Oh,
um,
absolutely. Yeah, we're still going to do loads of cool little events more with like trying on Kailash shoes and
yeah,
like keeping it more navigation based as well. I'm talking to British orienteering after Quid Games, which I know you went and
yeah,
enjoyed.
yeah.
I'm talking to Kay from there about sort of setting up a trail one. I'm hoping to do a trail one above Hathersage. I'm
Okay.
hoping it's
Yeah.
possible to do
Oh,
sort of
fun.
like a people dashing around to different various points around
Yeah.
there. So yeah, that's my idea anyway. Someone's probably going to come in and swoop and steal it now. But
No,
yeah,
no.
I think that'd be cool.
Oh, brilliant. All the best. That is very exciting.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's awesome, and especially after I spent so long with like a blinders on going for this ASICS front runner thing, I was obsessed with the idea of of being like a part of their brand. And like I enjoyed the shoes and stuff, but I mean the way that they like, I won't go into any like details, but they didn't. I don't think they handled that whole situation very well, nor do they in the following years. So the fact that I've not ended up with
Mm.
them and now I've ended up with Kailas instead has been
Which is
such a
way
dream.
cheaper, she
Yeah.
says. Might be,
I mean, I feel
I mean,
really lucky to be on the other side of it now.
yeah,
Not
we
that I
might both
probably
be
would have ever known
blacklisted from
otherwise.
ASICs now, but that's, we'll get
Yeah.
over it. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, brilliant, brilliant. So once you've sort of got over your speed demon things, have you got any
Mm.
ultras planned?
I do. I have actually shoehorned 100K ultra in at the end of May. Uh,
Okay.
I'm doing the Maverick Peak District X Trail 100K.
Yes, I've
And
done that. Yeah,
oh,
that's a
great.
lovely route.
That's exactly why I chose it.
Yeah, yeah, it
It
is.
looks like a really great tour of the Peak District, which I already know anyway. But if I was going to map a route,
And
it's
yes,
pretty
it's
close to what I
definitely
choose.
a bit more. It's a bit more interesting than some of the standard, you know,
Mm,
go up Mam Tor, Win Hill, all that sort of stuff. It takes you through some really lovely bits that I think you wouldn't not ordinarily run through.
completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking like the Ultra X England
Mm.
is quite cruel in that it sort of makes you fold back through around halfway as well, like right back through the start and the finish point as well. So you've got the added sort of mental nightmare of coming through the 100K, like 50K mark, right,
Ah, okay.
with the opportunity to bail very heavily there. Uh,
Yes.
and also
Okay.
it
I
goes around
didn't.
the back of Kinder, which is tough going around the northern side of the Kinder Plateau, if anyone knows that.
Oh, but it's so lovely round there. I mean,
Yeah,
if it's not a bog fest, which it
yeah.
probably will be, but if it's not, I love that. That's the snake path.
Mm.
Um, is lovely. I have actually just realised I did the Maverick 50K, not the 100K. Um, yeah, I was just thinking, hang on a minute, no, I didn't do 100 kilometers at all. But I also did the 50K at the Ultra X the weekend before or after, actually, just by coincidence. But that was a lovely route as well.
Well, I'd do the 50K, definitely.
Yeah,
I think
that was
I'd
lovely
struggle
to,
to do the
yeah, as
100
you
one
say,
on
going
that
up and
route.
around the back. But yeah, the Mavic one, I warn you, if it's I mean, it probably will be the same finish because it ends up in Bakewell. Those
Hmm.
last few miles along the Monsell Trail, uh, I could have died.
So I'll be charging towards victory by that point,
Well,
having
indeed,
absolutely
indeed.
smashed the whole thing with nothing gone wrong.
I think I think I did I think I literally did it the weekend after the Ultra X, so I was probably a little tired anyway. And then
Yeah,
sort of
maybe.
5 miles of, oh, we can run to the finish. It was like, oh, it was just horrible and flat and boring. And when does this ever end?
Yeah, it gets like that on a good day, even when you start your run there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that is exciting, and that's not so far away suddenly. I mean,
No,
March
no.
is we're knocking on March's door, aren't we?
Yeah, it's 3 months away. Yeah,
Um, Three. Oh, I suppose if it's the end of May, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You got a while then, haven't you?
yeah. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. My volume per week is a lot higher than it used to be, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping that will carry me through.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're so yeah, yeah. I mean, fitness wise, just not even a consideration. You're well within your parameters for that.
Yeah.
What are you doing a week at the moment?
I'm trying to sort of do 100K a week or so. So
And
uh
is that like 3 weeks on with a week
yeah,
reduced volume?
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm sort of in new territory because I've recently gone self-coached. So
Okay.
it's kind of up to me.
Cool.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm seeing how that goes for a little while.
Mhm.
And seeing with a little help from Holly Stables on the sidelines saying that she'll sort of look at my training plan and tell me whether it's shit.
Okay. Yeah. Strength and conditioning?
Yes. Well, I was supposed to go to the gym tonight, but I'm not well enough to go. Don't want me like sneezing over everything, although I feel a bit better. Anyway,
Oh, well, that's good. That's good to hear.
yeah,
What day is it? It's only Wednesday. Yeah. So you got, is it Saturday or Sunday, the race?
Sunday is the
Sunday.
race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I forget these short ones, so you don't need the weekend to recover, do you?
No, you don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's only a 10K. I'll be fine by the Monday.
Yeah. You'll still be able to walk that evening, which is always oh, look, here's my favorite squirrel. I always forget he has his squirrel.
Hi,
Hello, welcome,
Hello.
welcome. How are you?
hi, thanks. Good, thanks. How are you guys?
We're good. Yeah, we're just been catching up because it was November since we've last done a podcast together.
Yeah,
So
it's a long time
da
ago.
Damien is now a sponsored athlete. Not sorry, not Damien. Robin is now a sponsored athlete. So I'm just catching up on that. It's very exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm. He's a
Really
chaos.
serious business now, Damien. You gotta watch your back.
I am. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
How long have you been back? Did you
Is it a week? Yeah, a week.
a week? Okay.
Exactly a week. But I went straight into a trail running weekend with Darren and Finn in Devon. We had we had tried to pick a weekend that would be Barkley proof, but of course they moved the Barkley so far earlier than normal, earliest ever. That yeah, I got back on Wednesday morning and was down in Devon by sort of Friday lunchtime for
Oh
this
wow.
trail running weekend. So that's probably yeah, I
How,
was quite tired.
I was going to say, how did your legs think of that?
Actual physical legs are all right, but yeah, general sense of feeling knackered and old was quite prominent. I
Oh.
might have had at least one power nap in the day. Uh, yeah, snuck off to my room and hid away and fell asleep. It was all right. It was good. It was good.
Excellent. I mean, so many questions, and obviously, as we were saying, we're not sure what you can answer and what you can't. But um, why so early? That's got to be the big one. Do you know? I mean, did they
I
say?
don't know. I don't really know. There's a few theories. I guess one, they might have just simply wanted a harder Barkley or a winter Barkley, and there was snow out there about a week before. There was a load of snow, and it melted just in time. Although I think quite a few of us wouldn't have minded a snowy one. Hopefully, it leaves some nice footprint trails to follow. In theory, um, possibly climate change. It is getting earlier and earlier, but also the big one with Laz especially is yeah, not he really doesn't want anyone to turn up at the park, which did happen a bit in 2024.
Mm.
Obviously, it doesn't give people enough time, even if they had the money and time to, fly from the UK. But like, I suppose people in America turning up, so there's always a fear that there's been one year ever in the history that wasn't allowed to take place because they were worried about the amount of people. This is a long time ago, and the park staff are different now. But there is a big fear of people turning up.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
Sort of unwanted. Yeah, it's drilled into us not to give the date away, uh, and maybe that caught people more unawares that it was so much earlier, I suppose. But yeah, it could be at least three different reasons. Um,
Was it significant? I mean, I mean, even just the hours of darkness. I mean, was it significantly? Was it noticeable?
yeah, I mean, John, who's semi-local, John Kelly thought there was an hour more darkness then. It's about a month earlier. Um, The cold, I mean, I've had colder, I've had warmer in March. It's quite a changeable time of year down there. And actually, it was warmer than the UK when I got there. It was maybe like 15, 16 degrees,
Oh,
10
right.
degrees warmer than here. Yeah, yeah. But during the race, trying to think now. Yeah, it was cool, but it wasn't freezing until I guess the rain. The rain was quite cold after a while, but yeah, but it's a bit like, the Barclays going to be tough, and, a bit of weather. It's just part of it, really.
Do you think you're better at dealing with that sort of weather, being coming from England and just living in it? Um,
Well, I mean, the evidence would suggest not, because ultimately I got too wet and cold on my third loop and didn't complete it, mostly down to the weather, and I hadn't. Yeah, it sounds like such a basic thing in retrospect, but I hadn't taken an extra. Well, I had three layers. I mean, I had a nice sort of merino base layer and a really warm jacket, really thick waterproof jacket, and in between that, I guess I had a gilet, like a synthetic gilet. But my crew had said, take an extra layer, and I was like, no, no, no. And but that's also because the margins are so tight in terms of, carrying 300 or 400 extra grams might sound like nothing to some people, but we're going up and down, steep climbs all the time. Each loop might have as much as 15,000 foot of vert, which is around 5,000 meters of vert, and two loops is the same as UTMB if that's the case. Um, the
Mm.
a tiny bit less, a tiny bit less in your pack to carry
Yeah,
might actually make a little bit of difference over that time. But ultimately, I got that judgment call wrong, to be honest, because yeah, getting wet and cold
needed it.
could be more significant. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it looked like I wasn't well prepared for the weather really. But I mean, I quite like a bit of weather. Like, I
Mm,
mean, hours and hours of being miserable, I don't think many people love, but I don't mind. A few hours is quite fun, quite nice,
mm.
um, generally speaking.
Do you think, like, because you've been three times now, you mentioned maybe around sort of 15,000 feet per loop. What do you reckon for the 20 miles? Have you got any gauge on whether you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I know someone who, I guess, maps it afterwards in mapping software, and they thought it was about I think he said 23 miles. Um, But bear in mind, yeah, the quickest loop out there was almost 10 hours. So it's less than a marathon, but it's taking us 10 hours at our
Yeah.
freshest. So yeah, the vert, I think the vert is the key thing. So Laz apparently joked that, he'd made it no longer, it's no longer, but there's basically since the 2024 when five people finished, they've added two climbs. And a climb out there, I suppose, is anywhere from, well, let's call it 30 to 40 minutes, but very steep
Right.
and, very taxing on the legs. And off trail, and that was basically, my first loop was an hour and a half longer than the previous time I did it. So that's not a scientific study, but that's an indication of how much, so if each loop is an hour and a half longer at quickest, there's no chance for me to finish it. Um, so yes, I think it's more the vert than the distance. It's just so slow. I mean, you're probably doing, we're not allowed to watch. You're probably doing regular, 30-minute miles is the truth of it.
Do you think there's any chance that Laz has looked at these last 2 years and decided maybe he's tweaked it a little bit too far? Or do you think he's now thinks he's got the new benchmark?
Well, you say Laz, but nowadays I think it's Carl Laniak makes most of these
Yeah.
decisions. I think
Mm.
Laz is always around and he does have the final decision on things, but I think it's Carl who's making these decisions. And well, I went out there severely hoping that they'd realised the year before, 2025 was too much. I think they'd had overcorrected it, and I went out there assuming they would recorrect it a bit. And it wasn't until the night before when you get to see the master map and you're like, no, that's
Oh,
exactly the same.
was it? Is it exactly the, yeah, I
Yeah,
saw it was the same.
the
So,
only difference was we're in a slightly different campground because the original Yellowgate campground is being renovated, but we were like 50 meters away. Like you could see it. Like it was
Right.
that was the only difference.
oh yeah, I saw
Um,
the mini yellow gate.
yes.
That was funny.
Yeah, so Carl he works in sort of metal and machinery. Is one of his nicknames is the Mad Machinist. And I believe he made a makeshift Little
Oh,
Yellow Gate,
really
which was really cool. Um,
funny.
so yeah, so the only change to the course from the previous year was just adjusting the campground slightly, which made no real difference other than having to wade across a river, which had a perfectly good footbridge going over it. Um, so yeah, that's not a real difference. It's a minute or two. But yeah, the difference between 24 and 25 is two extra climbs, which they stuck with. And yeah, both years, no one's got, one person's got a fun run and no one's got any further. So I think it's currently impossible for
Mm.
almost everyone. So I hope they would reduce it in
It was a
future.
very French year, wasn't it? The French all took a bus over.
Again, yes, I think there was quite a lot of French the year before. I mean, from what I gather, the Barkley is huge in France. It is. really popular, maybe more popular than here. John Kelly says one of the only times he gets recognised outside of kind of running circles was once on the Eiffel Tower. Someone came up to him and said, are you the Barkley guy?
Oh
Um,
wow.
and then there's a good caliber of French athletes there now. So yeah, Sebastian Raychon obviously has won the spine race, and that was his third Barkley in a row. Aurelien Sanchez is the only French finisher actually, but he finished in 23. He was there, and then I'm not sure how many names I'm meant to know, but like meant to say, but yeah, there are at least two, three. Well, obviously Matthew Blanchard, who's second at UTMB, done a 20-hour UTMB, so that's
Yeah.
top level. At risk of sounding like a football commentator. And then there were two other French guys there as well. So early on that first loop, it was basically me and I think five French guys. My GCSE French grade is grade E, but luckily they spoke fairly good English most of the time. I did learn north, south, east, west in French, or at least I thought I did.
Maybe this is where you went wrong.
That's what I'm beginning to suspect. Actually, yeah, it was my language skills rather than my navigation.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
I
What?
listened to your podcast with James Elson, and you mentioned at one point that Sebastian was really good at finding the books. How was he able to do that, and like others struggle?
Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzle. Not a puzzle to me. I mean, firstly, he's got an adventure racing background, so you tend to, yeah, I presumably he was a navigator at times in that, and I've never done adventure race, but yeah, it's days of navigating, very, very tired.
Mhm.
Pavel Polonce is another one, and Ian Keith are other people, yeah, who've done very well at the spine and done okay at Barkley, but maybe haven't had the legs for it as well. Um, and then that's his third year in a row, so you get that accumulated knowledge of remembering kind of remembering or writing down or thinking, oh, that bearing, for example, I'd written down a bearing for the map, and he had a slightly different route in mind. He knew to find an old dry creek and then head for a boulder, and there were two books that I had never done before that were new. And yeah, I very much followed him on them. And he's not right all the time. And there was one book he got wrong both loops actually. When I say got wrong, that's part of the trick of the Barkley, is kind of keeping mistakes small. Mistakes are inevitable, and it's trying to make sure they stick to 5 or 10 minutes of lost time rather than
Mm.
an hour or something, which is what's happened to me in the past. Is a small mistake's become a big one. So he's got the extra skill. You can't. Yeah, it'd be foolish to aim to be perfect, but it's spotting it quickly and correcting. And then he seems to know. You hit the river and you're like, right, this isn't the exact spot, but he seemed to know. Oh, we're too far north.
Mhm.
He knew what too far north would be rather than say too far south, and that can save a lot of time. So I think it's skill and recent memory, a combination of two. And yeah, he's 53, impressively. So yeah, maybe just extra nous as well on top of that.
Very interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting. I mean, I read one of John's posts on it, and just the way he was describing that he'd missed a turn when we thought he was at the right place because he was listening out for the frogs, which weren't there because it was a month earlier, and it's like all this stuff. It's like you can't. How do you do it? And you have to remember so much stuff from when you've done it before. And it's almost like, how does, I mean, I know it is possible, but how is it possible if you've never been before and everything is new when everyone else seems to be relying so heavily on, oh, I remember that rock or that tree or that pond.
Well, while in 2023 and 2024, both years one Virgin did finish. Um, it is fairly rare. And yeah, we never really know. People have different, I suppose, ethics of how much a first timer, how much help they might get. And I don't mean to sound like I'm speculating, but yeah, it might be that in certain groups or nationalities, they're willing to provide more help to
Mm.
someone on the first go. The frustrating thing is, yeah, you can barely recce any of it. You're not allowed. You're only allowed on the trails, and the trails probably constitute 10 to 15% of it. Uh, so there's very little you can recce. But if you're lucky, if you get to know the right people, they might sit you down and talk you through it. But some other veterans don't see that as kind of acceptable. Like no one showed me the map before my first go.
Yeah.
Afterwards, yeah, I feel free to chat to other veterans about a certain book or a certain direction or a certain rock to look for a certain tree. And they genuinely are. There's a tree with a bump on, that takes you to a certain bit, and that boulder that looks like a this or that, looks like a house or looks like a beetle car. You know, they're important. There's tiny little rock cairn on one point. It's like get to that and then turn left. And if you miss it, oh, um, yeah, there's a lot, and that's what I underestimated first off. And there is things you can do online. There's things on YouTube. There's things you can do in Google Earth. I can't give away much more than that, but you can do a fair bit of research
Yeah.
um, beforehand. But it's still very difficult. But yeah, that is one of the secrets is the sort of background research beforehand
Yeah.
and accumulating knowledge as you go, I suppose. So yeah, like in a way, I was happy to miss out last year because it was impossible again, but also it meant it was 2 years, a 2 year gap for me. So stuff isn't quite as fresh. Some things have changed, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard in several ways.
There's a race near me in the Peak District called Mount Famine Fell Race. And at the beginning they have everyone on a road or like a farmer's track, and it's like steep banked, thorny rubbish, trees and bushes on each side. And the race director stands in front of everybody and then says, "Everyone, turn to your right. You're heading up that bank full of thorns and bushes and up through onto the fields, and then it's a horrendously hilly short 5 miles." But I always imagine that's what like the Barclays like, except for miles and miles and miles. Is that an
It's
accurate description?
Yeah, there are some sections like that. There are some sections like that. And the thorns, the thorn thing can get overplayed in that I don't think anyone's like stopped because of the thorns. Usually, I think, as far as I know, all the scratches are kind of, redeemable, and not going to stop you. Although I think John has been caught in the neck before and needed to pause and one of his early races. There's a blog about that. But yeah, there'll be long sections where the thorns aren't there and don't trouble you. But then, especially if you go off course a bit or something, yeah, what I found more annoying this year was the thorns they'd be around my ankles. So if you, especially some of the newer sections they'd have no footfall the rest of the year because they're way off trail. You're not allowed off trail except in the race. And it was just like picking your feet up because the thorns were sort of tripping you up. So they weren't necessarily going to cut you much, but they were going to wrap themselves around your ankles. So yeah, but there's plenty else as well. There are steep, what they call walls, which are natural cliffs, dot the course and don't show up on the map. Yeah, there are big rock features here, there, and everywhere. And there's a section. There's a newish. The Rusty Spoon section is a collection of kind of four walls, and either side of the walls is kind of thorns and slippery, loose rock. Just it looks impassable. It's the worst terrain I've ever tried to move on. And that was the new section for 2024. Yeah, there's some really rough terrain. There's very little running is the best way
Was
to
it was
describe
it
it.
was it a bit better being in February, being a month earlier? You said it was around your ankles, maybe better than being around your thighs?
I think first two loops it didn't feel too bad, but I guess when the weather rolled in, that was tougher. But what happened was the ground started to get quite greasy, and on the steep climbs, it was pretty slippery actually. And there were times where I had both my knees dug into the. I remember grabbing onto two tree roots and then having my knees digging into the ground as well to try and sort of get the traction to, to not slip. Firstly, not slip, and then try and climb up. Damned a couple of times. So yeah, it got greasy. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I was hoping when it's properly cold, that's when it's good, right? Because the ground can
Yeah,
be hard.
you want the
But we never
those.
really had that. But yeah, the weather was fair for the first two rounds, but then was getting wet and slippery.
God, that sounds horrific and vertical and and why? Why?
I guess it's the greatest puzzle out there in our sport, and I I haven't come super close to solving it, but I previously had come reasonably close enough to make me think it was
Yeah.
possible. And then I guess they've upped the ante. It's I don't think the current course is possible, but I guess you just hope they're going to reduce it a little a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is fascinating, and I love being there. But it's just this ultimate puzzle. But what's hard for me is, and I've said this over a few years, like for the spine or the Tour de Gion or something, of course, the route is marked. And so you can be very, very tired. But if you could just keep going, and try and be motivated, you know, uh, you don't have to make any difficult decisions when you're tired, really. But at the Barkley, you're constantly having to make key decisions. And if you get one wrong, you've gone down into the wrong ravine, or you're going the wrong direction, or you're in the wrong bit of the park, or you're way off course. So these decisions are really, really important, and you have to make them when you're really tired. And that's what I'm finding quite hard. And that's where I guess when someone from an adventure racing background, for example, would just be a bit more experienced at that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to almost talk myself into trying adventure racing, but I don't think I want to.
It does sound like that.
I think, yeah, on top of the personal admin as well. I mean, that's what makes those sorts of things like the spine incredibly hard. Is as you say, you take away just the endurance side and the fact that you've just got to keep going. You've got to look after yourself, and that's where a lot of people struggle and fall down. But you've got that as well as having to navigate through what sounds like a horrific landscape.
Yeah, I guess that side of things. I mean, it does take a back seat. I mean, ultimately, it shouldn't be as long as the spine. You're only allowed 60 hours, and even a sort of, for most people, the spine's going to be more than 90 hours. So that personal admin becomes more important at the spine. But yeah, foot care, for example, is important, and that's why I tiptoed through the river a couple of times with my bare feet and kept my shoes dry. Um, and yeah, of course, the chafing and things like that start accumulating, but you don't really have time. Like both my transitions were 10 minutes. Like I had 10 minutes in camp, and that's the only real place. Out on the course, there are two water drops. I ignored one of them both times. There are other rivers. Yeah, there's just no time. There's just no time for that, to be honest.
Is that your
So you do the best you can.
overriding motivation? Are you driven by that sense of urgency that the clock is ticking and you cannot waste a second?
Yeah, yeah, and it's quite unusual for me. I guess I've done FKTs, right, and that then you're very conscious of the time. Um, but in a normal race, I hope it doesn't sound arrogant, but I don't normally know what the cutoffs are because I don't have to worry about them. Whereas here, very, very aware, and I'm terrified of them because they're getting closer and closer all the time. And it's kind of a different experience. And yeah, give me another 10 hours or more, and I could complete the Barkley Marathons. But can I complete it in that time? The current course, no, I can't. And even if they took one climb out, it would be, really, really tight for me. But I mean, that's partly why I'm there, what's Lad's been saying. I think it's an age-old quote. For great achievement, there has to be the risk of failure, or something along those lines. And it very much feels like that, or it feels almost like, it feels more like you're probably going to fail. There's a very slight chance of achievement or something.
Like, I guess on the face of it, we look at you as an athlete, like really, really fast, great at hills, can do long distance, good personal admin. It doesn't really, you just plonk you down at the beginning of this race, and then when it doesn't work, it doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. So, John Kelly said last year, that he thought maybe if he was in absolutely tip-top condition, that he could have done that course. Do you think that's bullshit?
No, I mean John knows better than me, and he knows the course better than me, and he's better at analysing these things. But what he's been saying since is, you have to be perfect. There's just no time to waste at any books, and but our first two loops were very good. I think there's one book where we maybe wasted 10 minutes both times. I can think of maybe another a few minutes here or there. But we were pretty efficient those first two loops. Now, when I was on my own, I was less efficient. I made some mistakes. It just cost a bit more time. But yeah, I can't see. I can't. For me, I couldn't do it on the current course, the current time. I don't think I could do it. But maybe a Kilian Jornet could, or maybe Matthew Blanchard could have in better weather. But it's very, very tight at the moment. / I would say it's impossible.
Mm.
Yeah, was it? Was it you, Robin, that put Kilian on the spreadsheet?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't me. I don't think anyone's got control of that spreadsheet apart from that one guy, but he definitely did put Killian on there
Oh, was
for
that Taka's spreadsheet?
yeah.
Oh,
And then
fine.
he was removed, I think, like an hour or two later, but it certainly got everyone very excited.
Oh, that's funny.
I definitely didn't see him there, but it doesn't mean he wasn't there because you don't always see everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's usually a human sacrifice, isn't there? Like some random sort of fitness influencer almost that gets suckered into going. Did you bump into them at any point?
Yeah, no idea, I'm afraid. We do have, I mean, if you really want, I can go and dig out. You do get handed a couple of sheets of sort of pre-race data. Basically, it wasn't a name I recognized. So I wasn't, yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that was, is the truth of it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I thought if I didn't ask you, I wouldn't forgive myself.
Mhm.
There was also one runner that was out on loop one for something like 30 hours, I think. I can't find out who that was, but all Keith kept saying was that, oh, one runner's still out on loop one while like some people had finished loop two.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can, in some ways, I can understand it, like I mean, it's not like navigating in Britain. Firstly, the maps are very different and less detailed. Um, just for example, I mean, it shows no rock features on the map. It shows trails that you don't see on the ground. There are loads of trails on the ground that you don't see on the map. Um, the grid, you know how our maps have a nice kilometer squared grid on them. That is on half the map, not all of it. And then a bit of area they stopped colouring in, like they're very strict on the boundaries of the actual park and Morgan County as well. And like if you go over the border on the map, like they don't colour that section in or something because it's none of their business. So there are 4 or 5 ways in which the maps are very different to what we're used to. And I think you can trust most of the rivers usually, but when it tipped it down with rain, of course, new rivers sprung up all over the place. So I went down to this ravine. I was like, there are loads more rivers here than there used to be. That really wasn't helpful. So yeah, there's loads of reasons. I think yeah, I've got sympathy for that person because I can see how you can yeah get a bit lost and that turn into getting a lot lost. It's pretty confusing,
That's
and of course the directions we get the day before are sort of half useful and half confusing too. Just to yeah, that's the Barkley, I guess.
Laz put in his big roundup afterwards, and he said something very similar the year before that people just need to be able to navigate sort of contour lines better, and you should be able to see the topography in front of you, which sounds similar to what you said Sebastian was doing. So maybe he's sort of like a little bit of the way there, but the expectation that you can almost just have the visual of the map in front of you, especially contour lines. He loves the contour lines bit. Um,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there is some research you can do before, and I guess I would encourage anyone to, if they are lucky enough to get in, to yeah, use any mapping software that they can to try and like understand the park. It's actually not a huge area, but it's yeah, it's easily confusing because it's nearly all wooded and it's nearly all steep. And there are landmarks, of course, like the tower and the prison and camp. But in between, a lot of the places look very, very similar. Um, yeah, but I get what Laz means. I think you should have a good understanding of what if you go further down that valley or that ravine, what's it going to look like? You should have a rough idea of is it opening up or is it splitting into two? Is there another river coming? You should have a rough idea of those sorts of things. But yes,
which is
it's
quite
hard
hard
essentially.
actually. In the UK, our hilly regions tend to be not wooded. Um,
Mm.
I
mm,
mean, in Scotland, that's probably not quite right, but over here, just thinking Snowdonia, Lake District. I mean, even the Cairngorms, there aren't trees, so that you can see the topography so much easier than what it sounds like. This, the Tennessee, is you've got these incredibly, sharp inclines, but they're just completely covered by trees.
Yeah, and a lot of the course does look the same. Like it's in trees. There's a river at the bottom. It's steep, and there are lots of rocks around the river. And somewhere in those rocks or trees is a book. Um, and then you turn around and go back up and then back down the other side to a very similar looking
It looks
place.
the same.
And they, yeah, and
Yeah.
they're called. And of course, there's this whole Barkley. Well, I can give you another couple of levels if you're interested in the maps as well. Like, there's a language over there that we don't have in terms of like a bench. Is absolutely not a bench that we would think to sit on. A jeep road is not what we would think either. That could be like a really old path covered in leaves, almost undetectable, and we'd think Jeep Road, oh great. Um, yeah, wall I mentioned. They talk about confluence, of drainage. So there's a different language there for maps, and on top of that, there's the Barkley language. So the hills have Barkley names like Ball Bearing, Hill Apocalypse, the bad thing, Little Hell, Big Hell, the Meat Grinder. And you don't have to learn those, but it's going to be helpful, especially if someone says, go down the grinder at the bearing of 120. You need to try and think which one the meat grinder is. So there's two different languages to learn as well. So I mean, part of me, finds all that almost a bit overwhelming, but part of me is just intrigued by it and trying to learn it. But obviously, it's taking me a while.
I have this image that you come back and you fill out this sort of Bilbo Baggins type of map, one, bit more information each year. I mean, do you do that? I mean, do you come back and try and sort of write everything down that you can remember? I mean, because presumably everything has to be committed to memory. You don't, unless you haven't got paper and pen out there, have you? Because you can't.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe something I failed in on my first year, actually, that I realized other people were coming home and making notes as soon as possible. And I didn't. I didn't really realize, didn't really think of that. And other people do that. Yeah. And I've started doing that. Yeah. It's more making notes. Yeah. I mean, people have different methods about how much they might write on the map because you don't know how much will change on the map. So sometimes you're researching stuff and then that whole section gets moved, taken out the route or something. But I mean, you're still better off trying to learn it. But yeah, I mean, literally last night I was making more notes about what I remembered from certain sections, which obviously gives away the idea that I would try again if I get lucky. But yeah, there's a lot to take in. There's a lot to try and remember. And a whole year, or it was 2 years for me, and you're still trying to remember, a certain boulder and a certain tree.
Yeah,
but it's all good fun.
Ear be dragons.
I think you'll get invited back. There's a sort of like it's sort of a romanticism, isn't it, to just keep welcoming back the people who find it so frustrating and annoying that is exactly what they want. You're giving them exactly what they want. A really great proven runner who can't crack it. So I don't think you need to worry about
Well,
going.
let's hope so. Well, I don't know if I hope so. Well, and I think I do hope so, but it's still too close that I'm like, actually, maybe I could do without that in my life. But yes, I will. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
So, did you really start loop 3 barefoot?
Technically, yes. Technically, yes. So for loop 3, that was the first loop going clockwise, and that meant we'd go straight from camp into the river. And it just made sense to me that you're not guaranteed to get your feet wet the rest of it if you're careful. And moisture equals blisters. And definitely one of the other top runners in those sort of last 4 had macerated feet at the end. I don't know what he did, whether his feet got wet in that river or not, but some of the other runners were putting plastic bags over their shoes. But yeah, I just crossed the river, sat down, put them on. It probably only cost me a minute. But I did ask Carl if am I potentially the first ever person to start a loop of the Barkley Marathons barefoot? And he said, I think you probably are. So if nothing else, I've got that.
There's a dashing picture of Max King wearing plastic bags around his feet. It's sort of the elegance and design of it sort of somewhat crashes at the Barclays, doesn't it?
I suppose, yeah. He wasn't the only one doing that either. Yes, it's a bit of a curious photo, isn't it? A curious thing to do, but I think it was worth it for me. Yes, and like I said, there's a perfectly good bridge, but they said the runners wouldn't like the bridge, is what we were told.
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
code?
perfectly good bridge.
That's
they
code
wouldn't let
for
us.
you're not
Yeah,
going
no,
out.
no, yeah, you're not allowed to use the bridge. They decided that wasn't Barkley enough. Yeah.
Yeah, too easy.
It's funny, like all these extra things, like it's not hard enough already. But by the
Yeah.
way, you can't use the
Yeah.
bridge.
I think I would
Yeah.
really struggle to remember everything. I think that's where I'd fall down.
Well,
Yeah.
more and more, yeah, it is hard. And then, of course, you're going around, and then the next one's in the dark, and then they spin you around the other way. And yeah, that is part of what I'm struggling at. Some people seem to remember things, quicker and better than I do. It's
Mhm.
probably why I need to take these notes. But
Mm.
and I've run with people like, I mean, two spine runners I know have really good, almost semi-photographic memories. Ian Keith and Kim Collison. I've run with them both a bit, and they'll just remember, and I'll be like, I've been here 3 or 4 times, but I couldn't tell you if it's left or right.
Mm.
Um, but that's been almost deliberate on my part, like in terms of like I like to have an adventure. Like I don't plot my long runs usually. Like they're just a vague idea. I don't know what you two are like, but it's like it kills it a bit if I go right. I'm going to turn left here, do this, do this. I like to sort of go out and go. Oh, I might go up there today. Um, but that mentality doesn't suit
No.
Barkley so much. So I'm having to sort of yes try and be more exacting and planning and so on. But it's yeah, there's a lot to remember.
Speaking of people that like have great memories and that might be suited to the Barclay, if there's someone you could nominate who's not done it yet, that you think might do well, who would you pick?
Oh.
Think of it like a
Sabrina
fantasy Barclay
Verjee.
team. Sabrina Verjee.
Yes, she would, wouldn't she? With her adventure racing background.
I think she could be good.
Mm.
Um, yes, I think she could be
She's
good.
she's on the bench that's not that is a bench, isn't she, at the moment?
Yes, unfortunately so. Unfortunately so. But yeah, she's a phenomenal athlete and very good with sleep deprivation and navigation.
Mm.
Um, yeah, she'd be my number one. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
There
I
we
like
go.
it.
Let's start the campaign here. Petition.
Yes. Come on, Sabs. We want to see you out there. This is your new goal to getting fit for. We'll see what we can do. I see she's a bit more on social media now, which is nice as well. So I'll tag her
Mm.
just to annoy her.
I know. I think I even saw Jasmine post something the other day on Instagram. I couldn't believe
Oh,
my
great.
eyes. Yeah. What about if you allow yourself this sort of one flight a year, I suppose, as a green runner to go to America. Let's say you don't do the Barclay, would you allow yourself one flight to go and do maybe something like Hard Rock?
Yes, probably. Um, yeah, I set myself a sort of maximum one flight a year, and I've actually only averaged sort of is it yeah three, and I've done 3 flights of running in 7 years. So I've got some in the bank. Well, it doesn't mean I don't feel like I can suddenly go, oh, I can do 3 or 4 this year. But I actually stopped applying for Hard Rock and Western States because Hard Rock especially just seems impossible to get into. So I probably haven't applied for a couple of years. And also I've lost track of whether I've got a qualifier or not. To be honest, I just got a bit bored of feeling a bit like held hostage to the ballots and sort of the disappointment every year. So and there's a lot to do over here. So yeah, I have stopped applying for those two. Although I would say probably Hard Rock is the one. People do say I was asked at the weekend, what's the one race you sort of haven't done? It probably would be Hard Rock. But even then, there's so much of an altitude that really to do all right there, you need to go out there a few weeks before, and that's tricky with kids. But
Not Western
yeah.
State.
Well, again, I stopped applying. It does have more chance of getting in, doesn't it? But I guess yeah, I've kind of given it. I've been very lucky. I've done the Canyons 100K, which is a key bit of the course, which was pretty cool. But also, yeah, it's hot. It's not really a mountain race. Both those features might not be that good for me. But yeah, I think I'll always look back and wish I could have done one or two of them. But yeah, I mean, I've done pretty much all the races I ever wanted to do, and I have travelled a lot already. And yeah, I can't be too greedy.
Is that it now then? You've done all you want to do.
Well,
No,
I've done the big
there
ones I
must
wanted to
be
do.
more.
Apart from those two,
There
apart from
must
those two, I've done the big ones I wanted to do. I think. But yeah, new races get created. I'm going to do Swiss Peaks later in the summer, which is pretty exciting for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's 100
but
miler, isn't it?
No, it's the one. There's two with a similar name. This one is the 380K one that's similar to Tour de Gion. There's a Swiss Alps. I think there's a Swiss Alps 100 and a Swiss Peaks 380. Um,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, I've had a few friends, including Kim and Nikki Spinks have done that, and it sounds they speak highly of it, and Basil as well. So yeah, no, I'm lucky. I'm in a good spot. I've
Mm,
done most of the races I would have ever wanted to do, and mustn't grumble.
no. Any more personal challenges like your self-supported National Three Peaks?
Yes, I feel like well, it was the 3 rounds actually. I
Three
feel
rounds,
like
sorry. Yes.
I am gonna try that again because it should, in theory, if I can recover well from it, should benefit the Swiss Peaks because it's a similar format. So yeah, I do plan to do that again. It was frustrating enough that sort of close enough, frustrating enough, a bit like a Barkley that I'll give it another bash in the summer,
And again, the
hopefully in better weather.
thinking weather was what stymied you, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this time I feel like I can look back on the Barkley and say, look, I should have grabbed another layer. I wouldn't have got much further, but maybe I could have done a fun run. But with the sort of 3 solo, I did have 5 upper body layers like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
September.
yeah.
Like I think that like yeah, if I was doing it again, I'd still say 5 should be enough. Like I had good layers, but I was pretty unlucky with the weather, and yeah, I'll try. I think I'll try again. Try that
Oh,
one again.
good to hear. All the best with that one.
What about
Thanks.
other sort of Laz related things like a backyard ultra? Does that tickle your fancy?
I keep sort of saying maybe a bit, and then I never go close to applying for them. I'm intrigued by I suppose, the mental challenge of going like that. But I mean, the truth is, whilst I'm still relatively quick, um, they remove my advantage because every hour everyone's equal again. So it's like, hold on. normally, normally 5 or 10 hours into a race, I'm not necessarily the fastest, but like I've got away from most people.
Yeah.
And in this format, disadvantages me. So that doesn't mean I wouldn't ever try, but I guess it's got to be a scenic enough course that I mean I'd still struggle a bit with just seeing the same 4 miles round and round and round. But I suppose that is part of
Mm.
inherent to the challenge. So yeah, no urgent, no immediate plans. No immediate
Yeah,
plans.
fair
Although,
enough. Makes
I
sense.
love the format. I love that it speaks to a different type of athlete, and like a different type of athlete can be celebrated for doing something pretty extraordinary, but they're not necessarily the athlete is going to do well at UTMB or Barkley necessarily. But it takes another skill set altogether.
Yeah, definitely. Like a 24-hour track race. I mean, it's just completely different, isn't it? And
Mm,
um,
it is.
Yeah. And I said the same about those. I've for years. I feel like they were a bit more popular a few years ago. I've never quite got to the page and pressed enter, but I was always a bit intrigued. I suppose I'm still a bit intrigued, but
oh,
they're
even
also
more
awful at the
boring.
same time. Yeah, yeah, that scenery, that's even harder. At
Mm.
least you know when you're going to finish, but
I
yeah.
think you'd
I
be
mean,
really
the
good at
truth
that.
is, I haven't signed up for either, so that probably is the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd be really good at that. I think I think it'd really suit you. I think especially maybe like the 48 hour as well, like proper long.
No, I think
Separates people for sure.
I've heard runners are either internal facing or external facing. And a lot of people, I think, Robin, you're an internal. You can just go inside yourself and just go round and round and round forever, and deal with that. And I suspect Damien is probably a bit more like me, where he needs that external stimulation to, to keep going, to keep your mind sort of constantly working on those little problems and issues and navigation and self-admin. Without that, it's like then you're like, yeah, my legs are hurting.
That's very interesting, actually. Yeah, I mean, I do tend to pick races that I suppose are more scenic or have a sort of point to point aspect. I suppose the Barclays it is loops, but it is usually different each time. Yeah, you might be onto something there. I might need something visually. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm always very impressed by people who do both those styles of races. They sound extra. And the canal lot, the
Mm.
canal
No,
people.
yeah.
No,
Canal folk.
yes, that's an extra subset in itself, isn't it? Shout out to my friend Carl Zalek, who loves them. He does about three a year. Yeah, not for me, I don't
It's
think.
interesting,
Thanks.
and that's what's so fun about it in a way. There's so many different aspects to the same sport
Yeah,
that it provides that lovely variety, I think, in our community.
yeah. There's loads, and then all the distances, and then multi-stage versus single stage. All the different terrains. It's brilliant, isn't it? You sort of mess
Mm.
around for a few years and find out the stuff that you prefer, and then
Have you ever done a multi-stage where you've actually, stopped
oh,
and gone to sleep?
yeah, I've done like Dragon's Back, and I've actually done Marathon de Sable as well. I think and the Coastal Challenge in Costa Rica. So yeah, I quite like that. I quite like that because you get the full recovery and you get a more social experience.
Mm.
I've quite enjoyed them. I've quite enjoyed them, but probably not as much as I do like. I do like going on. Yeah, I suppose going on a
Wow,
long single stage even better.
Well,
interesting.
let's shoot back to I think we've done Barkley now.
Yeah.
The Spine Sprint North. How did you find finishing joint with John, and did you want to sprint past him the last couple miles?
I did want to get away from him. I mean, early on, yeah, he was really hammering it early on, and he was definitely trying to get away. And I just thought, well, I'll hold on as long as it's comfortable. It's tricky judging that, isn't it? But we definitely 2 or 3 hours until we hit Burness, we were going pretty hard, and I would say it was more him pushing the pace. And then we got up onto the Cheviots, and actually, I mean, it was pretty kind of slippery. So we did chill a bit because it was almost like it's difficult to race on this because well, it's so slippery. It's so
Mm.
slippery, and it was yeah, a bit icy, a bit greasy on the flagstones. So we did kind of chill, and we did pause for a selfie on the top of Windy Gile because the sun was setting. It was very, very romantic. Um, and then we carried on, but then I thought, he seemed a bit stronger on the ups, and I was a bit stronger on the downs. So I was always planning that the steep down towards Hut Two. I thought I'll try to get away from him there, and yeah, I bombed off. But I heard him shout out, and I thought, oh, is he in trouble? So I went back, and he had some issue with his head torch or something. But I'd already sort of committed to yeah, turning back, so I sort of helped him with his torch, and then we jogged on a bit. And then the next down, I tried to get away again, but he did catch me up on the next climb, to be fair to him. And then one more time, he stopped away on a steep climb, and I tried to get away again, and he caught me up again. So I think we only had one. There's only about a mile, just over a mile left, and I did say, right, are we sprinting, or are we, making sure we don't get injured? And we both had things coming up. Obviously, I didn't mention Barkley, but he was out in Costa Rica soon afterwards, and I had the Barkley. I was thinking
Mm.
it's not for me. It wasn't worth a sprint finish to pull a calf for Barkley. So yeah, I gave him the option, and he said, I think he said, we could sprint, but we could also, yeah, make sure we don't get injured. And so we shook hands and jogged in, not holding hands, although that is fine.
Yeah.
But if you look carefully at the pictures, I have chest dipped, and technically, I think I should
Ah,
be credited with the win. But yeah, I think yeah. I mean, yeah, I think for both of us, it was a B race. Like, it was a great outing,
Mm.
but it was a B race. It wasn't worth, for me, it wasn't worth, yeah, potential injury from having it. We both had like twingy bits, crampy bits, because we had pushed so hard early on. But yeah, cracking day out, cracking day out.
was it a new record? I can't remember.
Yeah, because technically that was the first
Yeah.
winter version. I think we were quicker than the summer one as well without sounding like a Burke. So I can't remember what it was, but it was fairly quick. Was it around 8 hours or something? Or 9 hours or something. Yeah, it's a record, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a new race really.
Well, it is a mere sprint, isn't it? Back in time for dinner.
A sprint for them.
Yeah.
Well, that answers
Yeah,
that answers a lot of questions. That thank you for that. I think the head torch shout's a bit
Mm,
suspect, but I think we'll let that one go.
yeah. Yeah, I
well, I
must
guess
admit.
yeah, yeah, it's a tricky one because yeah, I heard him call out, and I thought, well, you only call out if something I
Yeah.
mean, he may well have caught. The truth is, he may well have caught me up again because he
Yeah.
was very good on the climbs.
Mm.
The runnable climbs especially.
He
He
is
was very good on them. Yeah, no, he's a strong runner, and I could get away from him a bit on the descents, but not enough that he wouldn't catch me up again. So I was trying to get away from him, but I couldn't. Is the truth of it. So I'll just have to just have to live with that.
Fair
That's all
enough.
right.
fine. Are you still doing your strength and conditioning?
Absolutely. Yes, I haven't done these since Barkley. Um, but I think I'm meant to have. I think I do have a missed session. I can see an email just below the Zoom. Actually, you missed your workout yesterday, so I think I meant to have started back up, and I will do. I fully. In fact, if you'll forgive a really clunky plug, I've got a book coming out on the 9th of April called Run Forever, which is very much about how to age as an athlete. What are the key things you can do to keep running strongly into your 40s, 50s, 60s.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm
And
definitely
yeah,
that. Yeah.
oh, good, good. Well, I mean, as you might guess, I think most people who are really into this stuff would guess at most of the things. However, what's much more surprising is kind of like if you don't do those things, what's happening to you. So one of the absolute biggest things is the strength training, and even more so. Yeah, we start muscle wastage from off the top of my head, I've forgotten, but it could even be 30s. And for women, it's even more important around sort of menopausal times, and bone health and so on. But it affects sort of muscle. Yeah, lack of muscle affects our metabolism. It affects everything, our disease resistance later in life. So strength training's so important now, and I probably most of my athletes are fed up of me going on about it. But
Good.
yeah, there are so many benefits to it.
Do,
For
do you
both your
touch
running
on the
performance and health.
do you touch on the female side of things as well? Yeah.
Yes. But to avoid mansplaining, I've Renee McGregor has written that chapter on menopause.
Okay.
I didn't want to be the guy telling the women what menopause is like. Renee McGregor, I very light touch around menopause, and Renee McGregor has a chapter on menopause. And then there was a chapter on diet as well, but Renee sort of looked over, it's mostly from her, and then she looked over it. And then actually Pete Stables has a chapter on strength. There's a guide in there, a gym-based workout and a home-based workout that runners can follow along to. It's as well as some other training things people could think about. So it's hopefully it's a really practical guide. And there's a lot of interviews as well with, say, Anna Troop, Nikki Spinks, Ian Keith. A lot of runners who are Debbie Martin Consani, a lot of spine type runners. Runners who are doing impressive things in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And they're sharing, a lot of them have been very honest actually, especially around menopause as well, just sharing what it's been like for them, things that have worked and haven't worked perhaps. Hopefully they're inspiring. Well, they are inspiring. They're inspiring to me. People who are still banging out performances
It's
into
great.
their midlife.
It is. I think it's amazing to see, what people are doing now at older ages that 20, 30 years ago we'd have said, wouldn't even have thought about it. Like, well, yeah, you should be retired now. You should be sitting with your pipe and slippers.
Oh, totally. Well, I think we're a pioneering generation, honestly, because our parents, largely speaking, there'll always be a few outliers, but our parents weren't doing
No.
triathlons and ultramarathons into their 40s and 50s. I mean, it was hardly a thing then. And so a lot of the science is based on sedentary people actually.
Yeah.
So some of the aging science doesn't necessarily apply to us if we keep healthy. But it's not just training as you've always trained. There probably do need to be some changes to how we train. But one of them is make sure you strength train. It's one of the absolute biggest things. In fact, longevity. A study showed longevity is very, very much correlated to grip strength. So say pull-ups, for example.
Oh, really?
Which it's quite an easy thing to be doing. But
I've never been able to do
no.
not without a band.
We'll start with some. Well, I'm speaking outside of my qualifications, but I'd maybe start with some press ups, and even if press ups are too hard, start with press ups on your knees, and get to 5 or 10, and then try some pull ups.
Press ups
Oh,
fine.
okay.
That's not a problem. It's It's that, which is completely different.
Well, it is a pull versus a push. Okay, well, keep trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why you've got a chapter from Pete Stables in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have to ask him what to do if you can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you say, I mean, just trying would be a good start.
Or it might be that you try and bench press, but with as little as, again, that's a push rather than a pull, but you have to sort of do both with the bench press. So, but yeah, with as little as you can, yeah. I suppose less than body weight. Essentially, a pull up is body weight. So maybe
Yeah.
a bench press with less than body weight to get up to body weight. But yes, and yeah, we're a pioneering generation on this, and that's quite exciting, I think. Yeah.
It is. And I think, I mean, I've got friends who are older than me who are definitely of the older generation mindset. I've got friends who look at me as if I'm just bonkers. I don't know if you have that. But then there are older people, I suppose, I'm thinking of Damian. Um, there's this a friend of ours, Robin, Tim, who's, I don't know, is he early 60s? Can't remember.
Yeah, maybe about probably
Uh,
63-ish now. Yeah.
yeah, and he's a phenomenal runner. I mean, really, just an amazing outdoorsman, and yeah, would put a lot of us to shame, or a lot of good runners to shame. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I was swapping messages with Tim earlier today. Yeah, he's really inspiring. Yeah, and he isn't as quick as he was, of course, but he still gets out and does incredible things. Yeah, yeah.
long
Yeah.
may it last. And when's your book out?
9th of April.
9th of April.
And if you're with Vertebrate Publishing, and I think by the time anyone hears this, I'll have a link. It's pre-sale. Pre-sale day is tomorrow, Thursday. So I'll have a link in my Instagram bio. And if you'll forgive yet another horrendous bit of self-promotion, I do also have a speaking tour, which I never thought is something I would say and used to terrify me. But in April and May, I'm around the country. I think 19 dates giving talks, and I will give away some of the secrets of the book and some of the secrets of Barkley
Oh, okay.
in that tour. And again, there's a link in my Instagram bio to the places and dates.
Are you coming
Thank you
up
for letting
north?
me. Yeah, of course. I can't remember the exact places, but I will.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send you a link, and you can look, and you
Yeah.
can come and heckle.
Yeah, I'll do that, definitely. That would be grand.
Oh, you're coming
Brilliant.
to Buxton. That's good.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
Robin, he's looking. Where is he
I'm
coming
already
up?
looking. I'm like, he must be
Coming
coming
up
to
near
Buxton.
me.
They always come to Buxton.
They do
We
actually.
like
Because
Buxton.
the
Yeah.
pavilion is so nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a classic old school venue. It used to be like Beatles and everyone used to come there. So
Yeah. In fact,
Oh wow.
I remember when I first moved to the Peak District, I remember going to see a talk by Martin Stone and oh God, who's the other amazing Pete? No. Oh, this is awful. My brain is gone. This is menopausal brain, ladies. Don't let it happen to you. Anyway, I remember listening to a talk by him Martin doing I think it was some winter Munros in a M&S pulley, winter woolly pulley. You just think back in those days, oh my goodness, they were just there. That was just a different breed, wasn't it?
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, hopefully I'll come with some some stories to share. But yeah.
Well,
We'll see you in Buxton, Robin.
Barclays
Like
will
it.
be
Yes,
on
you
that,
will.
definitely. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I will put links in the podcast. It's only going out on Friday, everyone. So we're just recording this on Wednesday. So all will be relevant, and by Friday, by the time you listen to this, you can pre-order Damian's book. I think I'll be one of the first in line, actually.
Oh,
Definitely.
thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us again.
No problem at all. Thanks for your interest, and yeah, see you out on the tour somewhere.
Definitely.
Absolutely.